We already do a lot of things that CLI does not do yet. India should not try to build ChatGPT, and we were doing reward modeling when reward modeling wasn't clear what to do.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel where we feature a lot of interesting people who are part of the developer and startup ecosystem, which I'm also part of. And here I have Shayak Majumdar, who's the founder CTO of Aadya AI. How you been feeling being part of this program so far?
I remember back in 2018 or 19, I saw Naya Saji, Baby Chakra. So she was a part of this, and I was like, Naya's got that, I have to be a part of that accelerator. But after that, I never got an opportunity. So this time around, when I met Anjali at an event, I said, oh, Google for Startups, I'm going to apply this year. So I applied, and luckily we got through. So it's A, it's a lucky break. B, it gets us access to certain kind of capabilities and technologies and people that we would never have been able to access otherwise. And the cohort is awesome. Like the kind of people we find in the cohort and the kind of conversations we are having. The last time I used to have these kind of conversations, I was sitting in Silicon Valley. So it's really, really impressive. And honestly, to be able to sit in India and be able to talk about, for example, running LLMs on the browser, or fine tuning SLMs to a point where you can run agentic mode on your on device for village level entrepreneurs. I don't think these kind of conversations can happen anywhere else.
Awesome, Shayak. So before we get into Aadya AI, I had this conversation with you last night and I found it very interesting, and I want to make sure our viewers also know your background. So let them know how this journey with AI and IT happened, because I found it very, very interesting and very motivating.
Thank you. So I started my career back in 2003 with the Indian Navy. So I kind of qualified for IIT and NDA exams at the same time. And I went for the Indian Navy. I served in the Navy for 10 years. I used to be a nuclear biological chemical warfare specialist and a helicopter operator. And then back in 2012, I left the Navy, and then I started running some hotels and restaurants by the beach in Goa. After a point, I decided that I wanted to learn more. So I went and did my MBA from INSEAD. Post INSEAD, I remember not one company would hire me. I got like 150 rejections in a go. So I decided to start working for startups at the time. So that was a pivot that happened. So normally, you go from the Navy to a large company, but for me, it went from Navy to small business by the beach to MBA to another startup. Well, I'm calling it a startup. It was a Rocket Internet Group. So it was a big group, but still startup. And yeah, I learned a lot. I built out $1 billion business there. And so I was a global MD of the cross-border commerce. I started that vertical, established the teams in 20 countries, LATAM, Africa, South Asia, China. And the business grew. After a point, I left, and then I started my own business in Singapore, came to India. It took me like 3-4 years to finally realize that I needed to expand it to the US. So I went and I set up shop in US. This was 2021, middle of COVID. So, US was not letting Indians, and so I had to go to Mexico and then naturalize myself and then be able to get to US. That's how we set up in US. We raised money in US. We built a successful business, and then we had to shut it down due to the downturn at the end of 2022. So back in 2023, I came back to India, and then I started Aadya, because one of the key things...
So it was in 2022 you started, or 20?
No, Aadya was started in 2023, May 2023.
Okay.
Because my earlier company, I finally officially shut it down on March 2023. And so then Canara Bank and a few other companies came and said, Shayak, you should build out the ONDC stack. Lucky, because they also wanted that technology and it was very new. There's a lot of things. So we actually productized the entire ONDC, which is called a DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure. So we kind of productized the entire ONDC stack to the extent where we created a platform. This is pre-AI, so no AI building code or anything. People would come and they would be able to create a credit application or a learning application or a jobs application or a FMCG application.
So you got a chance to work with Namma Yatri, the likes of them?
Yeah. I worked with directly the ONDC team, built out back in 2023, this was very advanced. So we actually took about 1 crore products and we created a knowledge graph on top of it. And then we ran we vectorized 1 crore products and ran a knowledge graph. And we were able to create a state-of-the-art cataloging system for India at the time, where people would be able to go to the shop and just take their phone around and just see what they're seeing, and automatically everything would get cataloged. Like, I'm saying things which even I couldn't believe were working at the time. And then
This is the pre-Gen AI days.
no, it was nearly Gen AI,
Gen
because ChatGPT had come, but it wasn't very commonplace. So nobody knew how to do it. We also, around the same time in 2024, we fine-tuned an LLM as well. So that LLM, we actually later benchmarked it. At the time, the state-of-the-art model was GPT-4o. And we beat GPT-4o by about 21% in performance, specifically for retail. Again, we trained it for retail because that's what we understood very well. That model worked very, very well. It got us a lot of visibility as well.
Awesome, Shayak. So now, how did Aadya AI happen from ONDC? What was your motivation? What was the trigger for you to found this company?
In 2023 onward, I've always tried to build AI solutions, if I may say so. So back in 2017-18, we were running a 8-member AI team. Out of our entire 30-member team, 8 people were in AI. Those days, we were doing machine learning, deep learning algorithms. We really tried. We built out some things, but honestly, never managed to productize them, because the amount of compute and data that was required, we didn't have it. And so it wasn't working very well. So those days, we eventually went and we took Google APIs and we plugged it in and we made it work. So cut to 2022, and I saw what OpenAI did with ChatGPT, and it became a phenomena. And then I went and I started reading up a lot. I read the original paper, the 2017 paper, Attention is All You Need, and a lot of other things, and it inspired me a lot. And I said, this is going to change the world as we know. So when I finally created the new company, I created a small lab in that company. There were only 3 people in that lab, because at the time we were a very small company. So we started doing a lot of research work. And the first thing we did was build out a multi-agentic orchestration system for e-commerce. So we created 6 agents: cataloging, enterprise search, order and inventory and pricing management, and returns management, your grievance management, and finance management. 6 agents. And all of this we created on WhatsApp.
Wow.
All conversational, multimodal, multilingual, multi-turn. And at the turn of 2023, like at the end of 2023, is when it finally started working.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So you're talking about multimodal, multilingual,
multi-turn, chain of thought.
Wow.
Back in end of 2023. This was like, of course, we didn't know what we were doing because we were playing around, but we built. And then I took it to ONDC. ONDC said, nobody knew. They were like, go show it to Meta. And I showed it to Meta, and Meta got excited, and they said, oh, we are going to do this and that. And eventually we realized that wasn't necessarily where we wanted to go as a company. So we did a slight change in our structure, as in our process. And we said, okay, we've already figured out the Meta thing. Let's build our own LLMs. So we were trying to build our own LLMs in March 2023. And everything we built didn't work. So the models that were coming up had like terrible latency, and everything was, so these were fine-tuned models. And I think everything turned around July 2024. It was around the same time that Sam Altman came to India, and he said, India should not try to build ChatGPT. And we said, okay, we fundamentally agree, because it takes too much money to do that. But the modeling does not take that much money. And just 7 days ago, Tsinghua University had published a paper on distillation, the first paper on distillation, right? And I had read it, and my data science team had read it, and we were super excited. So we actually got some free credits at the time, free GPUs actually. And we started using those free GPUs, and we didn't know what we were doing, but we had an idea that, okay, we will do COT and GRPO. We were doing reward modeling when reward modeling wasn't clear what to do. And we did all of that, and we created a fine-tuned LLM, and we called it Aadya. So somebody from one of our investors said, oh, you built a model, why didn't you benchmark it? Everybody benchmarks. And we didn't even know, because there was no benchmarking for fine-tuning models ready at the time. So what we did was, OpenAI used to have a tool called OpenEval. We took OpenEval and we started benchmarking using OpenEval. And after a month, we were shocked, because we saw the results and we were like, we are using 80% less token compared to GPT-4o. And the funny thing is, we had actually distilled it using GPT-4o. So we had taken a Llama 3.2 and distilled it using GPT-4o. And Llama 3.2 because it had function calling. And it was outperforming Llama 3.2 for sure. It was outperforming GPT-4o. in token usage by 80%, in TOT and extraction by about 75 to 80%. And we were shocked, and we published all the data, and we wrote like a technical document on it, and we published it and forgot about it. And then NVIDIA's office called us. Yeah, so we got a call and we were like, who are you guys? How did this happen? And we were like, even we don't exactly know. We were just trying. And then Vishal called us, and then Greg was there, and the whole NVIDIA research team was there. And they're like, how did you do distillation? It doesn't work yet. And we were like, no, we read a paper, we did it, it works. And they were like, okay, how? And so we gave away everything we had, and we said, here, you can evaluate. So then eventually NVIDIA said, come sit in our office and we will teach you everything. So for a month we sat in the NVIDIA office and we learned everything from NVIDIA, and that was amazing. So we learned everything, and we figured out how to do the CUDA layer and how to use NVIDIA NIM and VLLM and all that, and how people were building agents. So we got exposed. Very quickly we got exposed. Had it not been sitting in NVIDIA HQ, we would not have known. So when we got out, we were like, we don't want to build another agent. Because what we had realized is everybody's building agents, and models are getting agentic, because the very first thinking models were just about to come out at the time, right? I'm talking about August 2024, O1 had come out, right? Just in theory. We were looking at it and we were like, it's going to go into the model layer. It's not sustainable, not survivable. So as a startup, if I'm starting now on something that is already destined to get into the model layer, I'm not going to do it. So we thought, and finally we came up with the idea. It was a very vague idea, obviously, and over time we've perfected it. The idea was that we will build one platform where two things are supposed to happen. One, AI builds AI. So that means eventually any developer or data scientist, because you have to abstract it to the lowest common denominator. And today, the pace at which AI is evolving and the amount of agents and the platforms and everything, whether you go to enterprises or you go to system integrators or you go to developers, everybody's equally parallelly confused. What do I really do? Now imagine, I'm sitting in this Google office, and the kind of work Google is doing with Gemini Nano, with the cutting edge Gemini models, LLM on Nano Banana, and LLM on Android, and LLM on SLMs on device. Who can keep up with that? So you have to abstract it down to a place where, I can go talk to somebody, and that somebody in this world is AI. So I can talk to AI, and AI should be able to guide me and help me build it out. And then what will it eventually build? We realize that people actually build three things. They build models, they build agents, and they build applications. Now, Crew AI was there. Lovable could be used to build out your applications. n8n could be used to build out your workflows and agents. Unsloth could be used to do model fine-tuning. And we used all of them. We actually put them together because all of these were open source, right? Crew AI is open source, n8n is open source. So we took these and we put them together. It wasn't working. It wasn't working the way we wanted it to work. It was just way too broken as a funnel. Because when I got something from n8n, I still had to connect all the databases manually. I still had to do the model connection and optimization manually. I still had to go and do the entire, ETL and communication platforms and all the governance rules. Everything was manual. Same thing when I got a application built from Lovable, we kept getting stuck because it does an incredible job at building it out. But then in the backend, it's using Supabase for edge functions, right? It can't scale.
A Superbase can't scale, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good for a lightweight applications.
It's good if I'm doing a college project, if I'm just showing somebody what I'm doing. And I've done this, right? In a customer meeting, in the middle of the meeting, I've shown him what I'm talking about. And they got surprised. They're like, oh, we were talking about it. Did you have this built? I'm like, we'll talk about that later. So the question is, you can do all these things. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't give me a product. So I have to strip away the backend. I then have to rebuild the entire database, the schema.
And the whole effort of
the whole thing,
coding goes off.
Testing is still manual. The documentation is still, everything is manual. Same thing with model fine tuning. So we basically went into that journey. It took us like a year to get where we are today. And we connected all these dots and we put AI into everything. So now in practice, not in theory, you can actually go talk to an AI and it will understand your requirements, build out the entire project scope, go to App Studio, do the documentation, build out the databases, build out the back end, build out the schema, build out the front end, do the testing by itself, do the designing from Figma by itself, and then do the deployment by itself. Now, this is state of the art. It can do all of this. Same thing on the orchestration side. So it has access to an MCP registry with 200 MCPs we've created. It has access to close to 20 state-of-the-art AI agents we've created for calling, healthcare, recruitment, sales, marketing, everything which it can use. It has access to an AI ETL, which can connect structured and unstructured data both. Imagine that. It takes data science people, data scientists, months to do what I'm saying. So you can now go there and say, okay, this is what I want to do. It'll connect the dots. It has a full communication platform baked in. So all your WhatsApp workflows, all your calling workflows, conversion of SIP trunking to sockets. There is a humongous amount of IP we created in that process, and we put all of this into one flow. And the reason we wanted to do this, and now it's finally showing up in the results, because last month 200 agents and 400 applications were built last month. This month, I think close to 1,000 will be built. What we're really trying to do is take it to developers everywhere and tell them, look, this is your friend. It still doesn't do 100%. But if earlier it used to be 30%, now maybe this is 80% or 90% done. You still may have to do a few things manually, which is fine, but it does the thinking for you, the project planning for you, everything.
So now tell me, Shamek, how did this Google AI play or Gemini play a role in this whole journey? And what is your view on that?
Oh, I'll start with the biggest one. When we give developers access to a platform, we always start with a Gemini key. And the reason we start with a Gemini key, it has two reasons. I mean, the context window is 1 million tokens, extendable up to 2 million tokens. A lot of the work just gets done in context. Like, you really don't have to do knowledge bases and RAG. It just, like, when you're doing basic stuff, no, you don't want to go into the complications. So it just does it in context. So it solves a massive problem. Plus, it is multimodal. So it can handle a lot of video generation, text generation, this talk, everything, right? So we started there. Another reason why we use Gemini Key default is Gemini is free for students. And we are literally giving our platform for free to, and our target is to give it in the next 12 months to 1 million students for free. It is not a small target. And we want to do this because we believe that, and I say this very often, that if you're above 46 and if you're below 26, sorry I'm saying this, you're going to find it very difficult to get a job. And the reason is, if you're below 26, you don't know enough yet. And so companies know that AI knows more than you. And so you can't guide the AI either. And if you're above 46, sometimes you're not driving enough value for the company. So, sorry, that's the state of the world. So we wanted to empower people. And we said, okay, let's give the platform to people and get them agent ready. Get them skills ready, practically speaking. And so we went and tied up with close to 20 universities, and we are giving it away to those universities so that the curriculum can be run, then they can get certifications, they can build stuff, practical stuff, and not in theory, and then they can take it to the industry. So we're actually doing that as well.
So your Aadya AI uses Gemini, it uses the Gemini API.
So we've got 100 models, but we give Gemini for default.
Okay.
And we believe that that is the best way to do it. We also use Gemini CLI in...
You're using Gemini CLI too?
Yes. So basically, our App Studio practically works with all three models, right? Claude, OpenAI, and Gemini. But where we found Gemini CLI to be particularly useful is, the context engineering part of how to go and do external integrations. That bit, if you have to build it yourself, is a nightmare. There's like too many things to consider. But CLI already does. So we already do a lot of things that CLI does not do yet. So we have that bit. So by plugging in CLI, it was basically 2 and 2 5. So we could create that additional value. Also, obviously, the entire platform is hosted on Google Cloud, because our entire journey started with Google Cloud. We've used multiple Google capabilities, like our marketing agents use a bunch of Google capabilities for content and audio and video generation. Our voice agents use Chirp 3 because Chirp is the only voice model that worked.
Yes.
Honestly speaking, the only voice model that worked in native Indian languages. I've tried every other model without naming. The problem is either it doesn't do streaming, or if it does, sorry, this is a little technical, but it really matters to people who build voice agents. Streaming doesn't work, contextualization doesn't work, voice modulation doesn't work, empathy doesn't work. So all in all, Google's got such incredible capabilities, and now we're going to work with the browser-based LLMs and the SLMs.
That's a new addition, thanks to the accelerator.
Yeah, thanks to the accelerator, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so now, Shayak, Now, you know that Google works a lot with developers. We have a very vibrant Google developer community. So, what is it that we can do? We have an upcoming DevFest season, and I want to use this opportunity to let our community people know, because I engage a lot with them. So, what is it that you want them to do during the upcoming DevFest season, and what is it that you can do to them so that they get value out of your product and you get value out of their usage, because that hopefully will give you some insight. So just assume that you're talking to the Google developer community out there.
I mean, look, this is a developer platform first and foremost, and we're trying to make people's lives easier so that they can build better products. We definitely believe that India is a product first nation. We just haven't had the opportunity yet. So you developers, you're the heart of this. And I mean, I feel that instead of going and, maybe outsourcing, we can also build products. And these products can be built using platforms like ours. So if you're a student, we are literally giving our platform for free. Build your product. There's a marketplace. You can host it there. We're giving you a bunch of agents in the marketplace, sales, marketing, customer support, etc., which you can use, sell your products more. And if you're a developer, you're not a student yet, you'll still get the platform. You'll get Gemini for free. You'll get the platform for up to a certain extent for free. So you'll be able to build out everything that you want to build out. So go out there. You have a bunch of dream projects. Try all of them out. Earlier, it used to take you 6 months to build it out. Now, it'll take you 6 hours. Build it out, take it out, show it to people, let people tell you what's working, what's not. And the only place where your orchestration, your backend, your application, and your models come together. So make it work for you. Take it wherever you want to take it.
With that, thank you very much, Shayak. And we will all see Shayak and me in some of the joint sessions we will be doing during the upcoming DevFest season. With that, thank you very much.